My cousin Ryan and I were house sitting for my aunt and uncle the summer before I started college. They were in Italy for 3 weeks, so it was just the two of us in their house out in Murraysville. Big house, big yard, quiet neighborhood. Nothing about that situation should have been a problem. Ryan and I had been there one day when I walked into the garage and found the side door, the one that leads out to the backyard, sitting slightly open. Not wide open, just unlatched, resting maybe an inch away from the frame. I figured one of us had gone out and not pulled it fully shut. I closed it and didn't think about it again. That was probably the first thing I should have paid more attention to. A few days passed without anything strange. Ryan and I had a routine going. We'd watch TV, make food, hang out by the pool. On some occasions, Ryan would have his Bluetooth speaker out by the pool blasting music while we floated around. It's safe to say we were having a great time. Then on the 4th or 5th night, I was lying in bed around midnight, and I heard that garage side door open. It has a specific creak to it, a low groan that rises in pitch as it swings. I had walked in and out of it probably a dozen times already. I knew the sound. I lay there waiting to hear Ryan's footsteps, assuming he went out there for some reason. But there were no footsteps, no sound at all after that. I got up and knocked on Ryan's door. He was in bed. He hadn't gone anywhere. We both went down and checked. The door was closed but unlocked. Neither of us had been in the garage since earlier that afternoon, and neither of us had gone down to close it. We looked at each other for a second. Then Ryan reached over and locked it. He said old houses settle, doors shift. It probably hadn't been fully latched to begin with. That's a reasonable explanation. I mostly believed it. I didn't sleep great that night either way. About a week in, Ryan's girlfriend came to visit for a few days. Having a third person around made the house feel more normal. The three of us spent most of a Saturday out by the pool. Late in the afternoon, Ryan and his girlfriend went inside to start making dinner, and I stayed out a little longer by myself. That's when I noticed the chair. My uncle has these wooden Adirondack chairs arranged around the fire pit in the corner of the yard near the fence. There are 4 of them, always in the same positions. I looked at them probably every day, but that afternoon, one of them was pulled forward, out of the arrangement, facing the pool, directly facing the pool. The ground under it had that flat, compressed look like it had been sitting that way for a while, not like someone had just moved it. I went inside and asked Ryan if he or his girlfriend had moved a chair. They both said no. I went back out and moved it back into place and didn't say anything else about it. But I kept thinking about it through dinner. That chair was not in that position the day before. I was certain of it. Ryan's girlfriend left a day early without giving a full explanation. That night it was just Ryan and me again. Around 9 p.m., I noticed the garage side door wasn't fully latched. I pushed it shut. An hour later I walked by and it was open again. Same amount, just resting slightly ajar about half an inch. Ryan said the latch was probably worn. That was a reasonable explanation. I accepted it. I went to bed that night with my bedroom door closed. I don't normally sleep with it closed, but that night I just wanted it shut. I woke up at 3:14 a.m. to a low scraping sound, like something heavy being dragged across concrete. I lay still for a second, trying to make sense of it, then got up and moved to the window. Down in the backyard, one of my uncle's Adirondack chairs was being dragged slowly across the yard. A man was pulling it, positioning it deliberately in front of the pool, facing the house, and in the pool itself, lit up faintly by the underwater lights. Another man was swimming slow, calm laps like he had nowhere to be. I just stared for a second. I couldn't process what I was seeing. Then I pushed the window open and shouted down at them, "Hey, who are you guys?" That was a mistake. Both of them stopped at exactly the same time. The swimmer turned and looked up toward my window. The man with the chair straightened up slowly. Neither of them said anything. Then the man by the chair reached down and picked something up off the ground near the pool edge. I couldn't make out exactly what it was, but the way he held it at his side told me enough. The swimmer climbed out without rushing. They looked at each other once, then both started walking toward the house. Not running, walking, direct and unhurried, like they had already thought through what came next. I pulled back from the window and grabbed my phone. My hands weren't steady. I called 911 and told the operator there were 2 men in the backyard and that they were approaching the house. She told me to stay on the line and that units were on the way. I screamed down from the window that the police were coming. They didn't stop, didn't even slow down. I heard the back door take the first impact, then the second, then the frame gave. Their footsteps came through the kitchen, steady and unhurried, and then hit the stairs. I had my back against the far wall. I could hear them in the hallway, both of them. Then my door handle moved. It moved again, harder. Then I heard the distinct sound of metal being worked at. They were going after the handle itself, trying to knock it loose from the door. Then Ryan's voice came from down the hall, shaky but loud. "I've got a shotgun and the cops are already on their way. Get out of this house." And then the sound, a pump action racking. Unmistakable. Then another, the kind of sound that doesn't leave any room for interpretation. Everything stopped. 3 seconds of silence. Then I heard footsteps, fast this time, moving away from my door, back down the hall, down the stairs, and now through the back of the house. The rear door swung and slammed. Then nothing. The police arrived about 4 minutes later. They cleared the house and found the broken back door, the damaged handle on my bedroom door, and wet footprints through the kitchen and up the stairs. 2 sets. When they were gone, I found Ryan sitting on the edge of his bed. I asked him where he got a shotgun. He looked up and held his Bluetooth speaker. He'd pulled a pump-action sound effect on YouTube the moment he heard them on the stairs and blasted it at full volume through the hallway. That was it. That was all it was. I've thought about that night a lot since then. I think about the 2 men walking toward the house without hesitating even after I told them the cops were coming. And I think about how close everything was to going a completely different way. If Ryan hadn't been quick, if he hadn't thought of that speaker, if he'd hesitated even 30 seconds longer, I don't let myself finish that thought.